Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And the gameplay here I got a little bit not too long ago before I started recording this commentary, and I chose this gameplay specifically even though I usually don't post gameplays like this as far as the end result is concerned, but there's a reason for it because according to a poll that I put up not too long ago, and I'm not even that popular on Twitter at all, I'm a smaller fry on Twitter than I am on here, but there were about 10 votes, and 80% of those votes voted no in terms of, do you guys have faith in Call of Duty 2020? Now, for a multitude of reasons, everybody has their multitude of reasons as to why they have no faith in the next game, whether it is because of development hell, everything that's going on with Sledgehammer and Raven, and how Treyarch was called in to kind of assist and help complete the project or whatnot. Part of it is because everybody was so disappointed and felt betrayed with Treyarch and Black Ops 4. And of course, there's Activision basically putting their nose into things. There's the skill-based matchmaking and the patent or whatnot. There's the fact that the game is rumored to have the Modern Warfare engine being built into it. So you know, there's a whole bunch of plethora of reasons. So with that being said, I would really like to know down in the comment section below why you do or you do not have faith in the next Call of Duty 2020. And at this point right now, we gotta look at this from more than one perspective. Okay, now obviously this is going to be a 2-year development cycle for the most part, right? So when it comes from start to finish in terms of the development hell thing, right? So let's just say this is a 2-year development cycle. And let me remind you guys, in the times of the past when we had a 2-year development cycle, we've had some of the best Call of Duties ever. And the thing is, we want more of the past than ever now because Call of Duty has gone in every single direction. And the thing is, there is more of a taste of the past that we want than things that they keep on throwing into the game. Like, for instance, specialists, I think we can all agree that specialists, in terms of, you know, the Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3 specialists or whatnot, they don't really belong in Call of Duty. Can they be put in? Can you get away with them? Sure. Like Black Ops 3, sure. But long story short, they don't really need that. It's not a necessity. Like, the specialist that we got in Modern Warfare 3 is a lot more up Call of Duty's alley, right? It was very Call of Duty-esque. It fit in very well. It was an idea that was spawned from Call of Duty in the first place. It wasn't something that was taken from another game and thrown into our franchise, right? Into the Call of Duty franchise. And that's where the problem is. See, people want to play Call of Duty. And if you guys remember, also, another reason why people may or may not have faith in Treyarch is because, well, obviously everybody is, like I mentioned, is so disappointed or was so disappointed with Black Ops 4. The thing is, they were going to make the game so different that they had to backtrack, and what we ended up was an incomplete game, and we got most of the content at beta. In terms of most of the new content, we pretty much had that at beta. In terms of the vast majority of the guns were in the beta, like a good amount of maps were in the beta. You know what I mean? And a lot of the maps, let's just say a lot of the maps that they brought back into the game were cut and paste from previous titles, right? And obviously the graphics didn't look as good, but the graphics, honestly, in my opinion, shouldn't really count against Treyarch because quite frankly, it's the gameplay that matters more than anything else. And despite the fact that Black Ops 4 for a lot of people was a disappointment when you compare it to Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, the thing is that the gameplay, even though it had specialists, which again, like I said, don't belong in the game, and they were overdone, it really, like, from a gameplay perspective, it's still a Twitch fast-paced arcade first-person shooter, and it doesn't punish you for moving around. It's still stuck to the Call of Duty formula. I bet you it was a miracle that they were able to release the game when they did, because I'm sure it wasn't what they had in mind in the first place, because it was supposed to be a Rainbow Six Overwatch type of hybrid type of game, which is why you see the 150 health, which is why you see the stim shot, which is why you see the EKIA. They wanted to keep part of that formula into the game and kind of wanted to mix, get a mix of everything in there. So, and again, they spent time doing it, but about a year or so into the life cycle, when people were called in to play test it, they said, what the fuck is this? Or who knows, maybe Activision actually did something right for once and stepped in and said, what the fuck are you guys doing? This isn't Call of Duty. You guys need to rewind, take it back a notch, and just, we don't care, just make the game like Call of Duty. Who cares if it's unfinished? We'll release it because that's what we do every fucking year, and we will nickel and dime people. Microtransactions are going to take care of it, and of course Blackout is going to take care of it. So I'm sure Blackout was their failsafe. Like, in other words, if people didn't like Black Ops 4 even more than they didn't or throughout from what we've seen, I'm sure Blackout was, again, something that they were going to fall back on again. But The good news is that I remain optimistic about this year's release, and part of that is because, well, there's not going to be battle royale because there's not going to be time. If there is a battle royale, it's going to be completely separate from what we're getting with the development. I think Raven is probably going to be working on that or something like that. And it's just going to be Sledgehammer and Treyarch, I think, doing Black Ops 5 or Black Ops Vietnam or whatever you want to call it. So the thing is, again, we've made some of the best Call of Duty games on a 2-year development cycle. I don't include Modern Warfare 2 in this at all, but I know a lot of you guys do. Everybody and their mother is basically, talking about Modern Warfare 2 remastered multiplayer. I, for one, am not crazy about it, and on top of that, I'm not really expecting it to be anything special. As it might be good for a few weeks up to a month, and then after that, it'll be like it never existed, in my opinion. That's my prediction on that. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Because don't forget, guys, this is 2020. That was then. This is now. The times are different. The game itself is different. The community is different in terms of the way they play and all that kind of shit. And yeah, so it's not going to be like it was. No matter how much we want to relive the old days, even when it comes to Black Ops 2, no matter how much we want to relive the old days, guys, it just isn't going to happen. This is not 2012, 2013. This is not 2009 when Modern Warfare 2 came out. Things are so different now. Back then, there wasn't even anything remotely related to microtransactions. It was all about a 2-year development cycle, the game's release in terms of what you're going to offer in the game or whatnot. So you got beefy loads of content. And in 2020, when you think it would all be better, it ends up being worse because microtransactions end up diluting the game, and then you got things like skill-based matchmaking and a skill-based matchmaking patent and everything in between. So, I mean, there's a shit ton of things. It's a laundry list of problems. And all these things don't really need to be a problem, but they're there because of a multitude of reasons, whether it's money or whether it's because you're trying to protect your noobs, because, again, it has something to do with money and the replay value and yada, yada, yada. So, so the fact that there's not going to be a battle royale, and the fact that, again, Vaughn is back. That's another thing. I don't know if it was his idea to change Call of Duty up for Black Ops 4 before they had to rewind everything and take a step back and cut and paste some old shit into the game in order to make it feel more like Call of Duty. But the thing is, Vaughn is back, and this guy brought us World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 when he was in charge of those games. So it really is like, it really is something that we got to remember. We can't just think about what we got in Black Ops 4. We got to think about the stuff that we got in the past as well. And the Treyarch's track record in terms of gameplay has always been good. Black Ops 4 was the worst because of specialists, but at the same time, if you think about it, it really is an arcade first-person shooter. There's a lot of moving around going on. The game overall, I mean, especially when you compare it to Modern Warfare, is a lot more fun to play. It doesn't punish you for moving around. As a matter of fact, it encourages moving around. There's a lot of cheese, too much cheese, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. But again, they still managed to keep it, within formula to a point to where it was playable like any Call of Duty made by Treyarch ever was. So, and again, I have my complaints about the game myself, but at the same time, I got to look at it from both ends. And again, our expectations due to the things that we don't like about Modern Warfare, and even the things that we didn't like about Black Ops 4 and all that kind of stuff, our expectations right now have been brought down to a point to where we will just be happy if we got like a game that just doesn't punish the person that likes to move. I mean, it's very simple. All a Call of Duty player wants is Call of Duty. So the formula is three major things. You got to have good maps, okay, that support a multitude of play styles, okay? You got to have good maps. You have to have good streaks, and you have to have the guns. You got to have the weapons and plenty of variety of ways to play them. So it's very simple. When it comes to the Call of Duty formula, like I've said before, it's like a pizza. You fuck up one part of the pizza, the whole thing ends up being disgusting, which is what the problem with Black Ops 4 was, which is a similar problem that Modern Warfare has. I mean, not the same kind of problem, but it's a problem that ruins two different problems that kind of end up with the same result. So yeah, I mean, I want to ask you guys in this video before I close out here, for what reason are you not optimistic about Call of Duty 2020, and for what reason would you be optimistic about Call of Duty 2020? I wouldn't mind if it played like a combination of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, but like I mentioned, it's not a 100% Treyarch game, so I'm expecting something along the lines of something of a mix between World War II, Black Ops 1 maybe. You put those two things together, I sure as hell wouldn't complain. Just make sure the spawn system works good, make sure the maps aren't too big, and there you go. And make sure the streaks work. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for this one. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think and where your thoughts are at. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. I'll catch you guys on the next one.